Welcome, Carlos. I'm so glad to have you here today. Could you introduce yourself with your name, when you graduated from Trachtenberg, and what you're doing now?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. My name is Carlos Villacis. I graduated from the Environmental Natural Resource Policy Program in 2016. And now I'm the Senior Director at a PR agency called Antenna Group, where we focus on climate tech clients that work in the clean energy, clean tech space.
Great, terrific. All right, let's get started with our 5 questions.
Cool.
First question, what is the best networking advice you've received?
Sure. I would say when I started my networking, experiences, you could tell I was very thirsty for jobs and my desperation really came off. And I think the advice I got that really changed that was to change my mindset from not discussing the type of jobs I was looking for, but more discussing what my interests were so that I could really make that connection with the people I was talking to. And I wasn't necessarily asking, hey, where do you work? What openings do you have? Anything like that. I was asking, oh, I'm very interested in clean energy. I'm very interested in solar, wind, etc. I'm interested in how policy plays into these. And then they would likely share, oh, my organization does this. I have a friend who does that same work. It opens up a wider range of answers and various ways that they can help you explore those interests, and vice versa, that you might be able to help them with theirs, as well as you might be an expert on something they've been curious about. So just going into the mindset of discussing interests as opposed to just jobs right away or anything like that.
Excellent. Okay, question number 2. What specific action did you take that significantly impacted any of your job searches?
Sure. I really honed in on my LinkedIn. I knew that many people would see my LinkedIn as my resume before I ever got to share my resume. So I made sure to get a very nice, headshot. I, took some time to make sure what I wanted to be shown was up top. I worked on my summary statement. I really invested in it because I found that, a lot of the jobs I wanted to look for, I could find on LinkedIn, companies of interest I had. I can go there to learn about the companies, the organizations. I can learn about their job openings, the things that they're focused on, their posts. And you can message people through LinkedIn. I found that it was a lot of resources in one place. So I really felt like my job hunt stepped up once I honed in and focused on my LinkedIn.
What have you found most helpful when you're preparing for an interview?
Sure. As always, you want to research the company that you're interviewing at. And I always found it helpful to read the news that the company may have had written about them or put out themselves recently. So I can find out what they're currently working on, what the hot topics are of focus for them, so that not only do I know, maybe I can get an idea of, okay, that's what I would be working on, but I could also bring it up during the conversation, during the interview, and say, oh yes, I noticed you guys just made that investment, that announcement, that partnership. And it shows that you're you're tuned in to what the company's doing. And it really, gives you a leg up, in my opinion.
Great. How did you showcase your capstone to potential employers?
Sure. Our capstone, we had an executive summary, which was, about 2 pages, which was perfect for me to use as a writing sample. So we actually, for a lot of jobs, even if they don't ask for it, or, a lot of times when you're applying and putting in your information online, they say, please add your resume, cover letter, and any other attachments. I would always add that as a writing sample. Even if they don't request it, I'll say, by the way, I have a writing sample. It is from, et cetera, et cetera. It's from my capstone, from my master's program. That it just gives me an opportunity to naturally bring it into the conversation. Even if ultimately they don't want a writing sample, at least you got to use that as a way to mention your capstone and what you did it on.
Great, great. Okay, last question. What specific action have you taken that's been most impactful on your general career advancement?
I think in terms of specific action, it was more like a mindset change. I decided to try new things. I really went in originally like, hey, I want to work in policy, I want to work in energy policy. And so I was only looking for like energy policy roles. I was only specifically saying like, hey, what positions can I do energy policy in? And ultimately what I found was that was very limiting. And at one point there was a communications, internship. And I said, okay, that's not necessarily policy, but maybe I can do this in the meantime. And through there, I found, I gained some new skills. I learned that, hey, I didn't hate it. I liked it. And then ultimately I found communication/policy internship. And then more and more, just that skill set helped me reach that ultimate goal of energy policy easier. It wasn't, you know, you're not finding your dream job, your final job as your first job or like as your next job. So just trying new things. And even if you don't like it, then at least you can eliminate that and say like, okay, I tried this. Now I know I don't like it, so that I can kind of knock that out for the future. So just not letting perfect be the enemy of good, and just not being scared to try new things, gain new skills.
Terrific. Thank you so much for your quick tips today. Really appreciate you being here with us, and look forward to working with you again in the future with our students. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thanks, Melissa.